Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Moron vs. Fanboy. I'm your host, Lon Lopez from MoronLife.com.
And I am filling in for Derek McCaw. My name is Dave McGuire from Nerdonomy.com. We're two stealth... no, I can't even.
Yeah, that's
Derek's thing.
That's kind of Derek's thing. So, good try, though. I mean, it was a gallant effort. But yes, welcome, Dave. Mr. McCaw could not be here tonight. He has some prior commitments. I don't know what's more important than Moron vs. Fanboy, but maybe a life.
Nothing.
Maybe he's got a real life. I don't know.
No.
But tonight, our segment producer, Mr. McGuire, is stepping in. So welcome him. Yes, hello, everyone.
Hello.
No? Okay. Anyway, it's live studio audience, of course.
There. Oh, they woke up.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, better late than never, I guess. But we got a lot of stuff to talk to you about tonight. Some interesting news. We're mostly gonna, I guess we are the pop culture experts, so we're gonna talk about some of the interesting stuff that happened this week. But first of all, how does it feel, Dave? How do you feel to be sitting at the big kids table finally?
Oh, it's good. I'm getting more on my plate. Smaller plates for smaller kids.
Right, got it.
No, it's great.
Isn't that the charity you work for too?
Yeah,
smaller plates for smaller kids.
Yeah,
it's a good charity. Look it up online.
It's opening up in Santa Clara. It's gonna help feed the poor.
They do some really good work.
They do. It's great.
They do some really good work. Yeah. So
Cheeto, my man.
It's an inner city thing, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, right. So, anyways, but yes, we welcome Mr. McGuire. He is a talent. Not only is he our segment producer, but he's also a talented actor who is part of a web series we've spoken about before from our good friend Jason Salazar, which is the Donovan and Sims. And you have a new episode coming up soon, correct?
Yeah, we are filming the last little bit of it this weekend, and it'll be up by the end of the month. Probably closer to like mid-April.
And just for those of you who aren't in the know, Donovan and Sims, it's a web series about a grown-up, adult-sized cop with a pint-sized little child partner.
It's like Turner and Hooch, but with people.
Or Cop and a Half with a white kid. I don't know. It just, yeah. So, but check it out. Where can they find Donovan and Sims online?
Yeah, you can find us on at YouTube/Donovan and Sims. You can also find us on Twitter at Donovan and Sims. You can also find us on Facebook at Donovan and Sims as well. So just look it up.
Spell it real fast because it's like got one N and it's weird.
Donovan is, as you would imagine, DONOVAN and AND or AND.
Right.
And then Sims is SIMMS. There's two M's.
Two M's. Gotcha.
Two M's.
It's funny. We love it, and it's our friends make it. So go watch it.
Thank you.
So tonight we're going to talk about big movie that opened this weekend. We've been kind of talking about it, selling it for a few months. I personally am a fan, but let's go ahead and jump right into our cover story where we're talking movies.
Yay.
We're talking movies. The universe is exploding. And that was a beautiful thing. The universe wonderful. It was like the creation of the universe.
Every week it's like watching life get made over and over again.
Yes.
This is what God must feel like.
If only it was that exciting.
Yeah.
Or gratifying. Anyways, so what we're talking about today, a big movie, well, the number one movie in the country this weekend, which if you're watching this is April 7th, I think we're at. Big Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier opened up. We've been hyping it, promoting it, been excited to watch it. I myself saw it. Mr. McGuire saw it.
I did.
But we're not going to spoil anything tonight because we're not actually talking about Cap 2. Tonight we are talking about Marvel Studios, the formerly independent studio that got purchased by Disney.
Right.
And now I guess they're a big studio or part of a big conglomerate. But it's this little studio that is doing something, and personally, the topic I wanted to go into tonight was Marvel Studio has got balls. They are doing some real ballsy things with movies today that we are, me personally, am impressed by. And I wanted to kind of talk and share with Dave here about some of his thoughts on the studio. So first of all, what did you think of Cap 2?
I thought it was great. I mean, I will fully disclose that I am a novice when it comes to comics. So my introduction is I've read Kingdom Come. That's probably the closest thing I've read.
That is a great book.
It's a great book. But I've seen a lot of the Marvel movies, and that's my kind of portal into that world.
Right.
So not knowing anything really of like what's to come, because a lot of the comic people are like, oh, there's murmurs of something larger at hand. Cap 2 is great. It's a great way for someone who's not so into the comics so deeply, I should say, to be thrown into it. You feel like you're a part of it, but it also feels like this great chapter that they are just laying out the foundation for something much bigger.
Right, and the thing is, and technically this is what we call Phase 2.
Right.
What Marvel Studios is calling Phase 2.
We can coin it. It's
fine. So what was happening was Marvel did their Phase 1, which was Iron Man 1 through 3, I think. Part 3 was technically 2.
Iron Man 3 started Phase 2.
Gotcha.
So Phase 1 was like Iron Man 1.
All the way to Avengers.
Iron Man 2, Captain America, Thor, and then the Avengers.
Right. So the world got the Avengers, and they were really excited, and the audience flocked to it in droves, and it gave Marvel this bank account that essentially enabled them to start Phase 2. And it doesn't look like they're slowing down anytime soon.
No.
Cap 2 it's getting rave reviews online. It's raking in what I think it made $300 million worldwide. I'm not sure.
It opened in 95 domestic.
Right. So it's like I think it made a record for an April opening. I think too.
It beat out Fast 5.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So so Marvel Studios. Big deal. They got a #1 movie. A lot of people have #1 movies, but I think what's so ballsy about it is that they are. I think the thing that caught me off guard was they're a studio that is essentially putting out serialized movies. Now, it's been a while. I mean, how often has a studio, like let's say maybe Warner Brothers is a bad example, but actually everybody has a superhero franchise now. But before they'd maybe put out Matrix or a Planet of the Apes or something, but that was only like their one little corner of the thing.
I think the thought process was that we'll do this one, and then if it does really well, we'll do a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now the thought process is that when they do a movie, there's franchise already on the brain. Like,
right, you're not seeing a studio put out an Aaron Brockovich, and then all of a sudden Aaron Brockovich leads to another like a spin-off movie where there's Aaron Brockovich meets this lawyer in the lobby, and that lawyer goes off and makes their own movie,
right, exactly.
And then all the lawyers team up for a book club or something at the end. I mean, no other studio is doing that, and I guess Marvel.
Yeah.
So that's true. I never thought about that. But I mean, so what I'm saying though is it's crazy to me that their sole purpose is to tell this giant story that's going to. And it was recently reported last week that some of the Marvel writers for their movies, their scope is mapped out all the way to 2028.
Yeah.
So I mean, they are planning movies for the next 10-something years, 10+ years.
Yeah.
So. To me, that's gutsy. That's ambitious because in this
plus
marketplace,
a TV show.
Yeah. Oh, plus 4 more TV shows.
Right, on Netflix.
Right. So I'm just saying ballsy. I mean, in this economy, in this market, I mean, especially in a marketplace where, who's going to the movies anymore? It seems like the only people that are going to the movies are little kids that watch Frozen and older big kids that go watch superhero movies. So for them to be thriving in this market, it's just... It's ballsy to me. It's gutsy because they are doing it.
Well, I think what's even ballsier is the fact that you took something that was once discredited as being any sort of real source. It used to be like the crap things,
right?
Like
exactly.
Comics weren't taken seriously,
exactly.
And now it's a source of reliable entertainment for people of all ages. And what's smart about it is that they said, okay, here's the comic book universe, and there's certain canonized things there, so let's not tamper with that. We're going to create our own Marvel cinematic universe,
mm-hmm.
and we're going to kind of play off of the things that everyone knows, but we're going to retrofit it so that way it makes better sense in a movie. Like Age of Ultron, from what I've read, it's not Hank Pym that makes up Ultron. There's speculation that it's going to be Tony Stark, and have that make more sense in the universe of the movie. So I mean, they're making it accessible to everyone. Right.
And the other thing, it's like you made a good point too. This isn't the comic book movies of the 70s or 80s where Spider-Man swung on a piece of cargo net or something, or where Adam West climbed up a building because we turned the camera sideways,
Right.
I mean, this is a commitment to good movie making. And it's not just effects either, because what the great thing about Marvel Studios is they actually are have pride in their storytelling. They've got good writers. They've got, great actors. They are casting, Academy Award-winning actors and A-list people to do all their movies. And so what's happening is the quality is getting better. So now, whereas before we, as a comic book fan, yes, I would go watch Shaq as Steel, but that's just because I've read the comic and I wanted to see how it translated to the screen. But
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know it was some tough years, but now if they do a Steel movie, it's not going to have Shaq. It's going to have Chiwetel Ejiofor or whatever his name is. Yeah, whatever, and he'll be the Man of Steel, whatever. So, anyways, I'm just saying that the bar they have literally lifted the bar. They're just going ballsy.
Like the Pixar of comic work, where it's like story comes first.
Right.
They want to have it be done, and then on top of that, there was I watched this like documentary thing where they were saying that when they introduced Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, that set the bar high because they're like, whoa, you're going for A-listers to help spearhead these movies. Like you're changing the ball game in this.
Of course, yeah.
So,
and I think the other thing too is every Marvel movie, and I'm pretty sure it was all of them, maybe starting with Iron Man. All had this stinger after the credits, which basically kind of continued the story after the movie was over, and basically, tied all these movies together. So every Marvel movie now, you have to wait till at least the mid-credits or the end of the credits, because you're getting little
clues
pieces.
To what's coming up next.
Right, and so, not to give anything away, but the new Captain America movie has, well, not only does it have an extra scene in the mid-credits, as one at the end of the credits, but also while you're watching the actual movie, they are hinting in dialogue of an expanded world, an expanded universe.
Oh, yeah.
So you're hearing names being mentioned, and it's basically, you're trying to figure out who these people are. So
it's so clever. Like I really wish I could be a fly in the wall to have like been in that meeting when they conceived this timeline, just to hear them say, okay, well in this movie you got to drop hints at so and so because that's got to play out somewhere down the road. Or when they said, hey, what if we mention this guy's name because this next movie that's going to come out after ours, it's going to have some more to tell about him. I mean, it's just this ever-evolving thing, and the fact that all these writers and directors and producers are all on board to be like, yeah, we're making one collective story, just within our own little movies. And it's such an awesome experience.
And speaking of ballsy, it was just announced today, since Captain America had such a great opening weekend, they have already announced the release date for Captain America 3, and it just so happens to be the same release date as the projected release date for Warner Brothers, or Warner's, I don't know if they're Warner Brothers anymore, release date for Superman Batman, the big Ben Affleck joining the Man of Steel sequel, and they're both supposed to come out on May 6th, and I saw that today, and I just went, ballsy. They are so confident in their product, they're so confident in their studio that they're going to like, well, let's take on we took on our major competitor in print. Yeah. Now we're going to take on our major competitor on the screen.
Well, I also think it's after the release of Cap 2 and Cap 2 being so successful that this next Captain America, and granted that's going to be part of Phase 3, so we have a couple more movies to go through, but I think that we can only expect good things. Like, even though there may be lesser Marvel movies, I've not seen one that was just an ultimate snooze fest.
Sure, right.
They've all been good in their own way.
And the other thing they talked about, too, was that now that they've got the ball rolling and the steam engine's like plowing through, they've even said, we don't, these characters have already been established. People have watched them. It's great. There's no need for a reboot. So eventually we'll just recast the characters and just keep them going. So I mean,
that's the ultimate comic thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Find someone new.
Right. But I mean, that's like an old soap opera thing. It's like you'd watch an old soap opera, like, today the part of, Nurse Jones is being played by stand-in actress, blah, blah, blah. It happens, and so how cool is that going to be that, who knows, maybe we're going to see Avengers 5, and it's going to have a whole brand new cast, but we'll still know Captain America, we'll still know Thor, we'll still know all those people, but
Oh yeah,
we get to go see another Avengers story. We don't have to keep rebooting the franchise.
Well, I know that in the Avengers, I know that in the Marvel universe, some of the characters die and other people take their place. I'm sure they're going to go their story.
They could do that too, yeah.
You know?
But I just think cinematically, it's like a James Bond. You know,
yeah.
There have been how many different people have played Batman? How many different people have played Superman? I mean,
yeah.
Just recast and keep going. It's
Thank
ballsy.
God. Thank you for not rebooting Marvel. Thank
yes. You. So I mean, eventually, well, Sony has rebooted Spider-Man already, and they're about to reboot Fantastic Four, but that's not Marvel Studios. So we're
not yet,
right? But we are very happy with the product. At least I personally am.
Oh,
and
I
I was thoroughly impressed with Cap 2. You should go see it. but also, too, bravo Marvel Studios for telling some cool stories. All right, it's time to move on to our next segment. A big announcement was announced this week, but we're going to tell you more about it in our Versus segment. Let's go to it, boys. Versus. Yeah! It's like a kick in the face. So for our Versus segment today, we're going to talk about a big announcement was announced in the late night world this week, and it's a sad announcement for me personally because one of my favorite late night hosts is calling it a day. No, it's not Jay Leno. He already left twice. David Letterman this week announced that sometime in 2015 he will be calling it a retirement from the late night game, and it sent shockwaves through the well, maybe just a ripple. It sent ripples through the late night community. Bigger, now it's interesting that this announcement comes the way it did, or the timing, I should say, is because just this year we've had Jimmy Fallon take over the Tonight Show from Jay Leno.
Right.
We've had, Seth Meyers from Saturday Night Live take over the late night, right?
Right, he took over
for Fallon. And then, late night has been shooken up for a while because Conan O'Brien took over for Leno. Then Leno came back and took it from Conan O'Brien. And Conan O'Brien got a show on TBS. All of a sudden, people were saying, where's the African-American community represented? And all of a sudden, they brought Arsenio back. And George Lopez was around for a while, because so it was insane.
Oh, my God, I forgot he had a show.
CBS has Craig Ferguson doing the Late Late Show. I mean, there's all these different people. So late night, and then there's Jimmy Kimmel, who got moved up to 11:30. So so there's all these different, the shakeup is going on in late night. Now, me personally, I've been a fan of just late night television since I was a child. You can blame my parents for keeping me up late and letting me watch that stuff. But, this definitely, with Letterman gone, essentially all the old guard is dissolved. I mean, he was the last one to carry the torch, and now we've got a bunch of new faces and new people coming on the scene.
And new styles, too.
Yeah, exactly. So, what's your take? Now, you're a younger viewer. Now, what's your take? Like, what's your grasp of late night? Like, how are you familiar with it?
I was never really into late night. I knew
like just late night television.
Yeah. I really enjoyed. I think I enjoyed the fact that there were these talk shows. I'd watch certain ones because certain actors that I admired would be on the show. The transition, though, is that it's really interesting to see these younger people coming in that. Where things like The Tonight Show, for example, Johnny Carson was very like, this is a question and answer, like we're going to have fun, but it's a strict formal interview kind of thing. Leno kind of upheld that. Fallon has kind of found this weird balance that he's taken from the Late Late Show of being the interviewer, but at the same time having the interviewer do gags and do the
little games and stuff.
Like the lip syncing thing he does, the war, the card game war he does, but with cups of water you throw.
They have it's almost like frat boy challenges or something. Yeah,
it's kind of weird. It's like this weird dichotomy that's happening now, where you've got this new generation taking over, and it's looser and it's edgier because it's not conforming to what it originally was, and it's definitely a weird vibe to watch on late night.
You definitely have to. You have to upgrade to the audience because the audience that was watching Jay Leno, they're in their 50s and 60s, and they're asleep by 11:30. You know what I mean? And so
they can barely make it through the monologue,
right? And that was kind of the point of the Tonight Show. Is it was the show you left on while you went to bed or were getting ready for bed, and you just kind of fell asleep to it. So at least now it's I think Fallon's doing a great job because he's captured that younger audience, and that younger audience stayed with him from late night, transferred up with him to Tonight Show, and they'll be with him for, the next 20 years, 25 years, or whatever he's going to do. The other interesting thing, too, we forgot to mention, but we had some graphics on there, is we totally forgot about Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert. These guys are shaping the total political aspect. So the whole late night field is just, I don't want to say saturated, but it's full. It's full of different things. You can try these different things. But now, with Letterman gone, what do you fill it with? What do you put in there?
That's the thing. It's you got to find. I read a rumor today that someone was talking about Stephen Colbert I read somewhere else, I think you were telling me this, that Chelsea Handler, quote unquote, is being talked to.
Yeah, not necessarily for that spot, but somebody from CBS.
Right. So, I mean, maybe she's going to do a version of the late night show. I mean, it's weird. It's like you almost, in order to match the Tonight Show, because that's your ultimate competitor.
Right.
If I was a CBS exec, I'd say, okay, I got to find someone who's just as hip, who's just as cool, and fill that spot.
Right.
You know, but the question is, like, who would you go with?
Right. I mean, right now, of all the comedians out there, I mean,
Conan's like super duper happy on TBS.
Yeah, I don't know if I know he's not happy with his audience. Well, I shouldn't say his distribution. You know what I mean? I'm sure he'd love to get into more homes, but I mean, I hate to say it because I'm a huge Conan fan, but I almost think Conan is past his prime. Like, not prime, but he missed his opportunity, or at least he was screwed of his opportunity.
He had his opportunity, and then it got taken.
Yeah, it was taken away, and it's like. You could, I mean, it would be awesome if they brought Conan to 11 or channel, or I'm sorry, CBS.
Right.
But I think his contract won't let him do it.
Yeah, I think they've got it tightly roped, I'm sure.
Right. So, I mean, if that happens, that would be amazing because then you would have Conan O'Brien, Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Kimmel all fighting for, whatever. And it would really be, I'd be hard pressed as a viewer of what I want to choose.
DVR.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to have to DVR the shows.
And that's the other thing, too, is nowadays, half the time people aren't watching these shows when they're on at night because all of them are smart and they're all putting clips on Facebook, they're putting clips on YouTube, and half the time we're seeing, like for example when Justin Timberlake teams up with Jimmy Fallon to do a rap thing or whatever. Right, it's just more the clips than anything else. So I don't know if we're actually watching that show. So the digestion of these shows is changing as well. So
well, I think this echoes back to what you guys talked about last week, and I don't want to pry into it, but you made a good point with the culture being YouTube centric, where our attention span is literally only 30 to 90 seconds. So this clip format, you're right. The digestion of these episodes or of these shows are literally just let's look at the highlight reel.
Right.
Let's see what the funny parts were because who wants to see the Roots play and intro him in?
Well, the other thing too is like half the time who wants to see a real interview? It's like you said, the more of the clips that are being shared, like, for example, I saw a clip where he had Greg Kinnear on the show, and it's like nobody wanted to hear Greg Kinnear talk. They wanted to see him and Greg Kinnear take, basketball shots using, like, random household items or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's almost kind of one of those things where now you and that's where Letterman was classic. People would come on Letterman to just sit and talk.
Right.
But that's because Letterman was good at it. Letterman could sit there and make you talk about whatever, and people were like, entertained. They were engaged. So you're going to be hard pressed to find a new host that's going to step in and recreate that. It might be over. It might be done.
Well, Ferguson and Conan still do, and I think Kimmel too, still do the sit down and interview chat. Ferguson just throws the questions out as soon as he sits down. I like
Ferguson in the sense because Ferguson makes his guests feel comfortable.
Right.
And when his guests are comfortable, and he also throws format out the window.
Oh, yeah. He's like, here's the questions. Forget them.
And the thing is once it's a conversation, people will open up and talk.
Right.
When it's like, here, tell me about your movie, then it's just a press junket, and people are just, they'll give you...
The canned answer that they've been told to give, yeah.
Right. So that's what I like about Ferguson. I don't think Ferguson will move into the Letterman position because I don't think Ferguson wants to stay a talk show host. No. I think if some new blood was coming in and saying, we're going to take over, Ferguson would be like, that's great. I'm going to go do movies or go back to comedy or whatever. He's even said before, Drew Carey made him enough money on that TV show to where he never has to work again. So, so I think Ferguson's just doing it for fun. So we'll see what happens. But ultimately... My first choice is Letterman. So if Letterman goes, I don't know if I'll be watching late night television anymore. I do like Fallon. Kimmel, I respect and actually enjoy his comedy, but I never feel enough to watch it.
Yeah.
I love Conan, but I always forget it's on, and I never get to it in time. So, Letterman I can count on, and, there's just some history there. So,
right.
So it is an end of an era. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm excited to see what happens in late night. I think there's some hits, there's some misses. I think Fallon's doing a great job.
Yeah.
I've maybe seen 1 or 2 episodes of Seth Meyers, and I think he's just okay.
Yeah,
so.
I've only seen a few. Like, I think I saw a clip of the opening with him and Amy Poehler, and it just felt like he just feels awkward. He just feels really awkward.
Yeah, he just maybe doesn't feel like a talk show host.
Because like he needs the desk.
Yeah,
he needs
yeah.
that. Like I think that's what was funny about him.
Right.
You know, is like he was writing his own comedy, but it was like even his monologue is the same format. It's like, here's what I'm going to say, and then punchline.
Right.
And it's like it's different. You gotta make it smoother.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Wait for 2015. 2015 is going to be a crazy year.
These next 2 years in entertainment.
Entertainment's going to be it's going to be pretty exciting. But speaking of that, something coming out in 2015, it leads us to our last segment, and it's our Geek of the Week. Oh. Let's find out who it is, huh, fellas?
Yeah.
Had a little accident
It's okay.
on the thing there. So our Geek of the Week is actually an old school geek. He's one you all know and love. Maybe not by name, maybe not by face, but definitely by fur. Our Geek of the Week this week, it was just announced that he will be making an appearance in the next Star Wars movie, Star Wars Episode 7. Our Geek of the Week is Chewbacca himself, Peter Mayhew. Do we have a pic of Mr. Whoa! Oh my God! Is that Gloria Steinem? Who is that? I don't know who that is. Is that Howard Stern? I can't tell.
It kind of looks like Diana Ross with the hair.
A little bit, but that is the Wookiee himself. Is he wearing the mask? I can't tell. I'm sorry. I love the guy. I love him. But yeah, so Geek of the Week, we're excited because if you are a fan of the sci-fi, of the conventions and everything, you can always... Usually Peter Mayhew on the West Coast he'll be doing a Comic-Con, he'll do like a WonderCon, or, he'll do some of the small cons, and he's great with fans. He'll sign stuff, he'll talk, he's great. He is 7 foot, whatever, I think he's maybe 7 foot, tall dude, so it's hard for him to get around, so... But, and he's only been in the Star Wars flicks, or at least for the most, that's his notoriety. So it's nice for the guy to get a little love here with the sequels.
And honestly, I think it's necessary. It's like it feels like this is going to be a very nostalgic movie, and it's good to have. I mean, it hasn't been confirmed, but if the other three are there, you need to have Peter Mayhew.
Well, and the great thing is the Chewbacca is an outfit. They can have anybody in a Chewbacca outfit.
Right.
But the fact that they were like, you know what, dude, you're cool, we love you, come back, be Chewbacca.
Exactly.
So you must have had some influence on some people. So yeah.
I mean, they could have got Yao Ming to play Chewbacca.
That would have been awesome.
Right?
I would have loved that.
Chewbacca dunking it.
Yeah, oh, that'd be great. I could just see the Oreo commercials now. So, but anyways, that is just about all the time we have, Dave. So how did it go? How'd you feel?
Whew, I feel good.
Yeah,
it was
nice chatting with you. So
well, thank you for having me.
Thanks for sitting in. Once again, you can find Dave's stuff, Donovan and Sims, online. Once again, Derek McCaw was not here tonight, but make sure you check him out at Fanboy Planet. I am Lon Lopez from MoronLife.com. Follow us on. There. Okay, go ahead. And you are.
And I'm Dave McGuire. You can follow me at Neuronomy.com. And at David C. McGuire, that's my personal Twitter handle.
At your Twitter. And you can follow us, or me, at MoronLife.com. Until next time, this has been your Moron versus Fanboy episode. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Shazbot.